Welcome to historic Highway 80 through Cochise County. We're right here at the border of Cochise County at the Mezcal Movie Set. Mark?
Glad to have you on set, Bob.
Can you take us on a tour of this movie set?
Absolutely. Let's talk about some of the movies, the scenes, and some of the buildings.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. The two-story building there, the Vander Spiegel General Mercantile and Supply Store, was built in 1975 by an actor by the name of Clint Eastwood. It was built for a scene in the Outlaw Josie Wales. It was also used in quite a few other pictures. It was Leonardo DiCaprio's gun shop in The Quick and the Dead. The Grand Palace Hotel goes back to 1970, Dirty Dingus McGee, starring Frank Sinatra. It was seen quite a bit in a lot of other movies, most notably Tombstone. This is where the Earps came in, right where we're standing, where they parked their wagons when they arrived in the Tombstone. A lot of people look at some of these buildings and say, why would you spend the money and time to save these? But they have historic value. That trading post was the courthouse, the Jersey Lily, for Paul Newman in the movie The Life and Times of Judge Roy Bean. But a lot of people are surprised when they come up here to this brick. It's fiberglass.
Fiberglass, okay. Thanks, Mark, for the great tour of the Mescal Movie Set. We're going to continue on down to Benson at exit 303, and we're going to go to the Benson Visitor Center and talk to Kathy.
Hi, I'm Kathy. I'm with the Benson Visitor Center. When a visitor comes in, we find out what they're interested in, and we recommend places for them to check out when they're here in Benson and Cochise County. Benson Visitor Center is an official Arizona Office of Tourism AVIC Visitor Center. You can get maps, guides, brochures about regional and statewide attractions.
You can get a map here from Kathy that shows where all the eateries are, motels, the RV parks. They're all numbered so that you can find your way around Benson.
I'm Patty Colombo. I'm the owner of the Horseshoe Cafe. I hope you can come and join us sometime if you're in Benson, Arizona. The neon light is a horseshoe. It was the longest continuous neon lighting back in the 40s, and it was in the World Book of Guinness.
We have over 1,500 RV spaces. Benson is the place to park your RV because we are in such close proximity to historical Highway 80, Highway 90, as well as I-10.
Currently we're in Benson, Arizona. We only came here for like a month, but we ended up liking it so much because of the weather and it being centrally located to other activities. So we ended up staying, and now we've maintained residence here. For us, being a family of 6, there's a lot of outdoor activities. There's a lot to learn about in this area. Historically, things that have happened out here. We have mountain views from all around. You can see the whetstones, you can see the Dragoon Mountains, and the sunsets here are amazing. Always get me every time. And then whenever there's a rainstorm, we have a lot of really good action too.
You're going to want to stop and see our murals that were done by the famous artist Doug Quarles.
My name's Doug Quarles. I live here in Benson, Arizona. Originally came from Louisiana. Most of my life I spent sign painting. And when I turned 49, that was when I decided I was going to go west and be an artist. The director here at the Benson Visitor Center built a beautiful, fantastic model train track around the perimeter of this building right here with roundhouse and everything. And it's 2-story track. We did a background buildings of Benson, and of course while you're here, get a mural map.
Stop in the Visitor Center and pick up your mural book that's put out by Benson Clean and Beautiful. There's over 45 murals that Doug Quarles has done. We also have a G-scale train setup that runs 280 feet of track around the ceiling. And we have a replica AAR control stand from a diesel electric train that you can actually operate the train with, and there's a camera on the front of the model train giving you the feeling that you're actually operating a real train. Once you finish driving, we give you a certificate that says you're an official Benson train engineer. So come on in and get one, it's all free. Benson is a railroad town, and it would not be here if Southern Pacific did not create it in June of 1880. Our visitor center is heavy into railroad memorabilia. We also have an ATCS monitor so we can see where all the trains are between Tucson and El Paso. We also have a rail cam. As you go to YouTube, RailFanAZ/Benson. Anywhere in the world you can see trains coming by real time through Benson. And Benson is also an Amtrak stop. The Sunset Limited has been stopping in Benson since 1886. While you're here, take a virtual trip on our road trip machine. You can actually sit and there's a video screen. We videotape driving from Benson to Douglas. Each town is so different from the next. It's fantastic that there's such diversity. Benson is a transportation hub. Tombstone, that's your reenactors. Bisbee is your eclectic artist, and Douglas is a fantastic mix of museums and historical buildings. In September in Benson, we have our annual Lantern Festival over at the golf course, which is a lot of fun, and it's a very spectacular sight to see all the lanterns, thousands of them going up in the sky at one time. The second week in October of every year, we have the Benson Butterfield Rodeo up at the arena, which is a fantastic, fun event. And then late October, our Zombie Dash. It's a fundraiser for some of our local charities. We also are autism certified by the state, and we are the only autism certified visitor center in Cochise County. And now it's time to head down to Tombstone, our next stop on Historic Highway 80. Before we head into Tombstone, we're going to take a little trip here on the Tombstone Monument Ranch. I'm here with Michelle, and she's going to take us out on her side-by-side here. We're going to look at the old road that went from Tombstone to Contention, and we're going to see the old railroad bed that went in 1903.
If you look this way, that red bank that you see over there, that's where the rail line ran.
Here's one of the original bridges from the El Paso Southwestern when it went up from Fairbank to Tombstone back in 1903. Those are either bullet holes or termites, and I would imagine bullet holes. This is where the trains actually came through, huh?
Yeah.
Pretty narrow.
Imagine digging through that rock.
No, I can't.
Me either. Because there's your road right there.
We could walk over there.
Completely up to you.
Yeah. Probably wasn't Highway 80. I would think it might have been the road from Contention to Tombstone before they used Highway 80, I would imagine. Let's look over here and see if there was maybe something on this side. It may have come down this way and then in. Pretty sure that would be the Tombstone to Contention Highway that they used in 1880.
It's still pretty incredible it's still here at all.
Yes, it is. And they may have put that concrete in there later than 1880, I'm sure. But I know they used to take silver wagons. They put 200-pound ingots of silver because nobody could steal it. And they would go from Tombstone down to Contention City, where they would put it on the train to Benson, and then they would send it off to El Paso and then to New Orleans, where they minted it into silver dollars.
That's fantastic.
We're done with our tour, and now it's off to the Tombstone Visitor Center. We're on our next stop here in Tombstone with Terry Smith on our historic Highway 80 tour. Terry?
Hello, I'm Terry Smith. I'm the manager here for the Tombstone Visitor Center. We're located at 4th and Allen Street here in downtown Tombstone. Come by and see us. We'll give you information and maps and brochures, everything to do around town. Tell you places to go, things to do.
Where's a good place to eat in Tombstone?
Well, there's quite a few. There's the Longhorn Restaurant. Both of the saloons are from the 1800s. They have excellent food.
Here we are at the Longhorn Restaurant on 5th and Allen Street. We are more of a family-style restaurant. We're a little bit more quiet. We don't have live music, but we do have specials every single day. Welcome everyone to Big Nose Kate. We have different food at Big Nose Kate's than we do the Longhorn Restaurant. It's all within walking distance. Tombstone is not just a day destination. It's actually a place where you can do things for many days. We work so hard to maintain the history. We train our staff at every business we have to talk about the history of Tombstone. Our visitor center and our city officials and the Arizona Office of Tourism, they all recognize the fact that our history is so very important, not only to us, but internationally.
Do you have RV parks?
We have many RV parks. We have historic stagecoach tours that are narrated, tells you everything about the town. And trolley rides. There's 4 different gunfights we have here in Tombstone that go on every day.
My name's Bill Fortenberry. I'm manager here at Old Tombstone Western Theme Park. Gunfight's actually the oldest gunfight in Tombstone. We've been doing this since 1997. Most of our actors are actually professional actors and stuntmen. Pretty cool fact, the library here used to be the old trade station where the train used to roll into town. So right here on the set is where the folks used to roll into Tombstone and step off the train. So a lot of history down here. The theme of the theme park is for the entire family. It is good for all ages. We're pet friendly. We also have a ghost and murder tour on the weekends, taking you to the 13 most haunted places around town. Our historic trolley tour and ghost tour are also wheelchair accessible. So come on down to Old Tombstone Western Town for some good old-fashioned cowboy fun.
Fade to black.
We have the historic Tombstone Courthouse State Park, which is now a state museum.
Okay, well, thanks.
You're very welcome.
We're gonna head down the road to Bisbee, but before we do, we're gonna stop and see an old bridge that was on the original Highway 80 in 1926. We're here on a bridge about a mile out of Tombstone. This is the original bridge. It was actually built in 1918, but you can see this is where people had to go when they were going south to Bisbee. If two cars had to pass on this, it was pretty tight. And now we're going to head south to Mule Pass, which is another 30 miles or so. And once you go up the hill to Bisbee, in 1926, you went up over Mule Pass. The Mule Tunnel was built in 1958, but you can still go up there. There's a monument that says that that's the Continental Divide, which is not right. They put that up there in 1914, built by prison labor, and they realized later that the Continental Divide is actually closer to Deming, New Mexico. We're here in Bisbee as our next stop on historic Highway 80, and I'm here with Heather Andrews, who runs the Bisbee Visitor Center. Heather, tell us a little bit about your visitor center,
Yes,
what you do here.
Absolutely. Love to see whoever's coming into Bisbee stop by here first. We do have a lot of maps that we can show you exactly where you need to go and the highlights that you can see. We have lists for restaurants, hotels, museums. We have RV parks or any of the attractions.
This is a wonderful little town. We've had a great time walking around.
We just wanted to go on a road trip and we wanted to come down here. We have a friend that grew up here and we knew that it was really artsy and kind of eclectic down here. So we wanted to check it out and see for
explore our
ourselves.
state and meet the locals, and it's been fun. Yeah.
Definitely a great way to get out of the heat of Phoenix, Arizona.
If you go down to Warren, that houses the oldest operating ballpark.
Hello, I'm Mike Anderson. I'm the founding member and historian for the Friends of Warren Ballpark in Bisbee, Arizona. Our ballpark is the oldest continuously operated multi-sport facility in the United States. It was constructed in 1909. The Mariachi Festival is an annual event that gets bigger and bigger each year. It features mariachi groups from all over the southwestern United States and Mexico. It provides a venue for some of the finest mariachi that you'll find in the United States. You walk in the ballpark, everybody's got a smile on their face. Everybody's having a great time.
Every Saturday we also have the Saturday market, live music, so it's a really fun place, and that's every Saturday from 9 to 1. We do offer the Queen Mine Tour. It's an hour tour. You go straight back into the mountain to see how the miners worked and what they had to do.
Welcome to the Copper Queen Mine. We do underground mine tours. If you're gonna go on a tour with us today, we take you on a train. We do about a half mile underground on the train. We do get off and explore the mine a little bit. In Bisbee here, we mined 8 billion pounds of copper, over 100 million ounces of silver, and almost 3 million ounces of gold. We do 5 tours a day, 7 days a week.
Hi, I'm Annie Graham-Larkin, the Executive Director of the Bisbee Mining and Historical Museum, located in the heart of the Historic District in Bisbee, Arizona. What you'll find in the museum on the first floor is Bisbee Urban Outpost on the Frontier. That is an exhibit that examines our history and the culture of Bisbee, Arizona. Located on our second floor is Digging In. an exhibit that was designed by the Smithsonian Institution and looks into the minerals and mining heritage of Bisbee. We're open 7 days a week from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. We're only closed Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's Day.
My name is Jay Allen, and I want to welcome you to my home, Lowell, Arizona. Bisbee itself, when you think of Bisbee, Arizona, it's Warren, South Bisbee, Lowell, but it's all Bisbee. Bisbee has some of the most interesting people you've ever seen in your life. I mean, there are writers, there are poets, there are artists, there are fabricators, there are sculptors, bikers, just the most diverse people. We took this street and took it back to what we call preserving Americana. And it's taking people back in the time that I remember this street as a little boy. And as you look down this street, we have so many cool things from yesteryear. You're looking at a 1954 Greyhound Scenic Cruiser. This was designed by the guy who helped Howard Hughes design the Spruce Goose. This was the most modern bus of its time. I can put 4 Harley Davidsons in the belly of this bus. 1954, the Scenic Cruiser. This is my daily driver, a 1939 Chevrolet Master Deluxe. I love this car. If I was to be buried in a car, I'd be buried in that 39 Chevy. This car right here is a 1954 9-passenger Ford station wagon. It's a country sedan, and here's my legacy, 25 years owning the world's largest biker bar, the Broken Spoke Saloon. For all you motorcycle lovers, we made what an Indian shop looked like back in the day, and in this window we have a 1946 Bonneville race bike that I started out on 20 years ago, and I set my first records were set, and I'm a 55 land speed records now. That was what got me started in land speed racing, that 1946 Indian Chief. You all kick back, relax, and welcome to Lowell, Arizona.
This is life casting by Winetta, me. What I'm committed to doing is providing an atmosphere for children to be creative. I opened this in Bisbee because Bisbee is a tourist destination, but there's very little here for children. I can give back to Bisbee by providing something for families, not just art, but an experience. I preserve memories.
Our next stop on Historic Highway 80, we're going to go to Douglas, which is right on the border of Mexico. We're here in Douglas at our last stop on the Historic Highway 80 road trip. And we're at the Douglas Visitor Center, and we're talking to Lawana Diffie, who will give us some more information on things to do in Douglas.
Yeah, well, welcome, Bob. Thanks for coming down. We're at the Douglas Visitor Center right now. This would be at Pan American and Highway 80 as you come into town. The history of Douglas goes back to the fact that the copper smelter was originally located in Bisbee, and Bisbee Flat didn't want it in there anymore. They chose the Douglas area. So because Bisbee was in charge of laying us out, this became a very planned community. Within that planned community, they constructed a specific block for the churches, and that block had a different church on each corner of that same block. It was written up in Ripley's Believe It or Not in 1936 is the only place in the world where you had that dynamic. Douglas became a boom town about 1900. Douglas has more buildings on the Arizona Historical Register than Phoenix does. We have 20 Mexican food restaurants and an additional 16 international restaurants. The Douglas Williams House is a previous residence of the founder of Douglas. The Art Car Museum is probably one of the newest ones. It's pretty phenomenal. I fell in love with a stained glass Volkswagen. They have a hearse in there that beats anything out of the Addams family. Simply amazing. Douglas is very passionate about their veterans. We're on the Purple Heart Highway. We planned and constructed a memorial to the veterans for all the soldiers that were killed in action. Locally, there was a lot of soldiers. They weren't killed in action, but needed to be recognized. So we constructed the Wall of Faces. The Gadsden Hotel was kind enough to allow us to set our display up there using pictures of the soldiers from their yearbooks.
And if you come to Douglas, you're gonna get in love with Douglas.
We have 4 different RV parks in town. We have our crown jewel, which is the Gadsden Hotel. That was originally built in 1907.
I think we should maybe take a run over to the Gadsden Hotel right now. What do you think?
I'm ready, let's go.
Well, the Saddle and Spur is a great place to end our historic Highway 80 trip to Douglas. Cheers.
Salud.